This is the master of 1,000 holds, Mike Quackenbush, and you're listening to the Win Column Sports Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Over the Top Rope Survivor Series edition with your hosts, Chris Parrish and Spencer Love.
That's us.
That's me?
Man, it's been a while. I'm
Right?
excited to be here. It's a long time since you and I have done one of these. Of course,
It's been a horny hour. I had to.
Well, of course, man. Spencer Love, Chris Parrish, your hosts of Over the Top Rope Live, your regularly scheduled hosts for Over the Top Rope Live. First of all, want to thank Mike Maloney, whatever you pronounce his last name as. Mike, can you introduce yourself?
It's Mafia Mike.
Mike Maloney, the ref behind the camera here, getting us ready for a very stacked Survivor Series card.
Absolutely, man. I'm super excited. Parrish.
It's so enhanced, even Stephanie McMahon is invested in it.
Wow.
Before we kick off here, I want to ask the both of you guys, Mike behind the camera, first of all, favorite Survivor Series memory?
Favorite Survivor Series memory, I'd have to go with 1990, debut of The Undertaker. The Roddy Piper experience with it.
Excellent call. Parrish, yourself?
How do you not go with the classic Montreal Screwjob?
How can you like the Montreal Screwjob?
Because I was a Michaels fan and he won the title.
You know, I'm going to go a little bit more recently because I was a big fan of the guy even when I started getting into pro wrestling. Sting's WWE debut, absolutely killer. I think it came at a perfect time, obviously.
If anybody's seen me, I'm definitely heavily influenced by Sting.
Right.
Also,
Face paint and all.
well, right. I mean, this ain't how I wake up in the morning. But, I mean, we also saw, like, The Rock debut, The Undertaker debut. Like, some of the all-time greatest debut at Survivor Series.
Shout out to Ben Oman in the chat room, the gobbledygooker.
Oh, absolutely, the gobbledygooker. How can you forget about him?
I was getting there, Benjamin.
I may be changing my answer. Excellent answer. But as you were alluding to, even in recent years, we've got Goldberg's return to the WWE after 15 years or so, whatever it was. Every year there seems to be something coming out of Survivor Series, and I think it is still one of those big four pay-per-views of the year, despite the fact that, maybe it has over the last couple of years fallen off a little bit. But Parrish, as I know you're going to jump into right now, this year's edition, and I know we say it pretty well every year, maybe the most stacked Survivor Series in ages.
I think you're adding a very dynamite type issue with the addition of doing Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. I think that is making Survivor Series just absolutely must watch right now.
Couldn't agree more,
And
man.
Trying to order. Waitress is totally no selling me right now.
Well, and of course, if you guys are looking for somewhere to check out this year's edition of Survivor Series, you can head down to Beercade YEG, 105th Street and 82nd Avenue here in Edmonton, Alberta. They're already open. Pay-per-view, I believe the pre-show starts at 4:30. Could be a bit wrong on that one, but it's all on here. The whole thing's going on, and hey, some $4 drinks, some $4 menu items, a ton of members of the independent
And you're
wrestling
guaranteed not to
community.
strike out like I just did.
What are you guys talking about? The real pre-show starting right now.
That is 100% true. The only pre-show. That
Why don't
matters
we
here
rush
in
into
Edmonton,
it?
Alberta. Oh, that was bad.
All
We're
right.
not even going to continue anymore. Mike, you know more than I know as far as the match card goes. Lots.
Wait,
of talent
it's
on
a
the
cruise.
Card. Get out.
Well, Parrish caught the one that came out this morning that we hadn't seen until early today, so I don't have a slide for it here.
It's actually Spencer.
One of us did it.
Yeah, he's smarter than me.
It's true, but that's no reason to undersell.
Okay, Chogdor, behave here.
Don't talk about. Okay.
So
Don't be
anyway,
one of those people.
We have Leo Rush defending his NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Akira Tozawa.
And Kalisto.
Kalisto in the
In a
match
triple
as
threat.
well.
Kalisto, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I hate to say it, but Parrish, I feel like anytime we talk about the cruiserweights here, we talk about what a great match it's going to be. But still at this point, how non-essential viewing it is. You know, if you were to miss a cruiserweight match, we were talking before we even started the broadcast here, and I'll let you expand a little bit, but there's not really a ton of the cruiserweight division that makes a lot of sense right now outside of who the champion is, because they're missing shows as far as 205 Live goes. They're sort of integrating a bit with NXT. It's a confusing time for the cruiserweights, despite the fact that there's a lot of talent. Give me your thoughts, because you're a guy who's a big proponent of the cruiserweights.
Well, I think right now you're in you're in an evolution phase when it comes to the cruiserweights. I think they had such a high coming off the Cruiserweight Classic that they were the talk of the town, and now they've died off, especially when they're aired after SmackDown.
That was 3 years ago now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
2016.
And it's one of those shows where you kind of just mumble to yourself, like, yeah, I missed it, but what did I miss? And then all of a sudden, when Buddy Murphy was a champion, it became one of those shows that when him and Ali and Cedric Alexander were in there, you had to watch it. It was must see, and it was almost like the cool new thing. And then a certain company came out, and they became the new cool thing in AEW.
205 Live, sort of.
And then now what we're seeing is with NXT becoming one of the bigger names, and they're just absolutely killing it right now, especially with the move to USA Network. Now they're almost kind of like that little brother that doesn't get the attention. They're the Owen Hart of the divisions in WWE.
Wow.
Yeah, but here's the
not
thing.
dead yet.
No. They are absolutely phenomenal, almost better than their older brother, but at the same time they're underappreciated because they're not getting the right looks. And you're talking to a guy that loved Owen Hart, so
Yeah,
please don't throw that on my end.
Well,
if we don't talk about him, we don't remember him.
In my humble opinion, and I think all that I've really got to say on the match is it's going to be great if you've got the opportunity to watch it. I'm calling Leo Rush retaining. I don't see any reason to change the championship because he is a guy, whether you love him, whether you hate him, he will be a guy who, in my opinion, will get some more eyes on NXT.
Yeah,
or the cruiserweight division as a whole, I guess.
I think he's a talent that you have to roll with.
Yeah.
He has to be that guy shooting out, representing the brand. And it's wrong to say they need the bigger platform, but I honestly do believe they just need to be showcased more, and Leo Rush is the showcase that you want to watch, and I think keeping that title on him, smart move all across the board. Leo Rush for the win. I'm going to say gets the pin on Kalisto.
Fair enough. Mike, run me down the rest of the card because I have no idea what else is on the pre-show.
Well, I haven't seen anything else in the pre-show, but let's get to one of our main matches here.
All right.
Where we got what everybody would call the secondary titles being involved with the NXT North American champion Roderick Strong taking on the Intercontinental champion, the newly branded Intercontinental title in hand of Shinsuke Nakamura, taking on the U.S. champion AJ Styles.
Mike, I'll ask you first. What do you think of the IC title belt redesign?
I think it's something they had to do to match up with the changes in...
As we have some technical difficulties.
Oh, they're not seeing anything. There's a big screen here with the match on it.
The technology nowadays is just insane because
That is what we like to call in the wrestling world a botch spot.
Only other commentary. Anyway, guys,
sorry, the IC title redesign.
I really like the look of the title.
Okay.
And I also like the way they're going to the black strap or the darker strap for most of the titles now.
I agree, and correct me if I'm wrong because you made the point last night, I believe, after we got together.
Yeah.
I believe all of the women's championships now have the white strap to them.
Yeah.
All of the men's straps all have the black strap to them, and I think that creates...
Not quite. The two SmackDown titles have the two navy blue right now.
Excuse me.
And the Raw have the red.
The Raw
so
tag is the
darker
red.
Titles,
Well, and the Cruiserweight is purple.
they're all branded, okay? Excuse me. Now I just sound silly.
Anyway, guys, let's get to the actual match
Who likes
here,
the
though.
men?
I think that this is not even a dark horse. There's a lot of matches tonight that could really steal the show, and I think that this is one of them. Whether you're talking about Roderick Strong, yes, I know that Nakamura and Styles had their history before. They had their series of matches, and they literally ended with us all collectively, proverbially, and literally getting kicked in the balls. But I think that it was a fine series of matches. I think it was better than people even go back and remember them by, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that, yes, they were disappointing, but they were still great wrestling matches. And I think the addition of a guy like Roderick Strong, who, in my opinion, if you watch TakeOver last night, he was one of the stars of that main event matchup. He is going to be one of the stars, whether he stays in NXT, whether he moves up to the main roster with the Undisputed Era. He is going to steal the show wherever he is. And I think that this is his first huge chance to do so outside of his championship matches in NXT, and then his couple of appearances in that cruiserweight tournament that happened a couple of months ago.
So, the one thing I'm going to say about this match is going to fly under the radar as possibly being that dark horse, because there are so many cards. Like you said, Mike, this card is stacked. But this match has three of the best performers you can possibly ask. I remember watching Roderick Strong against AJ Styles or Ring of Honor back when I was in Chicago for WrestleMania 22. And they absolutely tore the house down then, and they had something to prove because they needed to make it. They wanted to be the best. Now they're at Survivor Series, one of the biggest events of the year. This is Roderick Strong's first main roster pay-per-view shot, and I'm going to guarantee that he is going to not only hit a home run, but he is going to make Mark McGuire want to take more steroids because he cannot hit a longer ball than that. But at the end of the day,
That's fine.
I
was a Sammy Sosa guy.
Mark McGuire has a record. And numbers don't lie.
33 and a 30.
I'm going to say AJ Styles gets the pin over Roderick Strong because, in my eyes, this is a prediction. Finn Balor is going to cost Roderick Strong, and we're going to see Finn Balor, Roddy Strong for the North American title.
No, and the only reason I disagree with that, and I don't want to get into too much fantasy booking here, but they just turned Finn Balor heel, and I don't think they would put him up against another heel as far as that goes. I think you could definitely see Balor cost AJ Styles, because I know they had not a friendly interaction, not a negative interaction, but they did have that interaction on NXT a couple of weeks ago. I think that you could see Balor interfere and either cost AJ Styles the match, potentially cost Nakamura the match. There are a lot of different ways that I think that could go, because Finn Balor, outside of his match with Matt Riddle last night, has been very conspicuously absent as far as all of these post-match brawls, any of this interference, all of that sort of stuff goes on WWE television thus far. So I think you definitely could see him involved, but I would love to see. There's a lot of people that I think could be a dark horse to win. One of them I'm going to make a certain pick to win, but we'll get into that a little later. I would really love to see Shinsuke Nakamura win this match. I think that him getting a big win would be huge. Him getting a pin on AJ Styles would be huge because, as far as I remember, he never got a true quote-unquote clean win over AJ in their feud. To have that happen, to elevate the newly rebranded Intercontinental Championship, I think that would be excellent. The other option we've got to look at for every match coming up, and I'll let us move on to the next match after this, is any match coming up is going to be no disqualification, because if you're going into a triple threat matchup, you're in a no DQ match by the tradition of the sport. And all of these guys have formidable backup that could be getting involved in the match. So depending where they are on the card, you could see Bobby Fish, you could see the OC, you could see Sami Zayn, you could see any combination of those individuals getting involved in the matchup, and that for me changes everything.
Two things I'm actually going to say. Ben, you're here, no DQs and triple threats. And two,
Buzzing.
you can say it's a thing, I don't know. But WWE has a weird thing. When they introduce something, they like to make it strong.
Yep.
So with the sense that they just introduced a new championship in the Intercontinental title, a new design, it wouldn't surprise me if Shinsuke won, because they want to prominently make that IC title so much more important than maybe the old one.
I agree.
So I can see a Shinsuke.
So that's going to be my call here. I feel about 50-50 on this one, but I'm going to call Shinsuke Nakamura winning the triple threat matchup.
All right, well, from there, let's move on to another triple threat match.
The one time a year that brands go to war.
If only Bragging Rights would have actually came up with this concept before, maybe
Great
people
Balls
would
of
have
Fire.
watched it.
The Great Balls of Fire tournament.
Regardless, the next matchup here is the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. Wow, a lot of B's in this matchup. And then taking on the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler.
When I brought up earlier that there was a match that I'm going to conclusively call a dark horse winning, I think Bayley's winning this match. I think that they have really underplayed her as far as it goes.
On purpose.
Yep.
On purpose,
I think
yeah.
that the way that they've played up, I think that Shayna and, like you said, lots of B's in this match, Mike. But the way that Shayna and Becky, I'll stop stumbling over my words after this. the way that Shayna and Becky have played themselves up, I think that there's no way that they can get out of this and look worse unless there's some sort of really spotty finish. Excuse me. I think that if you have Bayley come in, and the way I look at it is the way that Rhea Ripley stole the pin and stole the win from Charlotte Flair on SmackDown last Friday. It was a beautifully done finish. Nobody came out of that match looking any worse. I think that it really, truly elevated everybody coming out of it because everybody looked good. Everybody put in a hell of a performance.
It helped the one person who needs it the most.
Exactly. And I think that both Bayley, I hate this many B's in this damn match, Mike. You've thrown me right off.
You're welcome.
But I think that Bayley does stand to benefit more from a big win. I think that Shayna being the NXT champion for a year plus gives her that certain panache. I think that Becky Lynch is Becky Lynch. She's the best wrestler in the business right now. And I think that if you're to give Bayley a win over either of those women, whether by hook, whether by crook, whether it's by interference on Sasha Banks' part, whether it's whatever on that end, you could really see a statement-making win for Bayley since her turn. So I'm going with Bayley in this one.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna purposely say a different answer just so we can have some fun with it, because I do think Bayley makes the most sense in this match to win.
Yep.
However, you talked about how many people could potentially interfere in the previous match we talked about, but I mean, think about the two that help Shayna Baszler all the time.
Again,
Dude,
conspicuously
here.
absent at
And
NXT
for the
TakeOver.
first time, I think it was done intentionally done during the sit-down between Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. They actually brought the friendship onto the main screen of Raw for the first time between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. And I actually do believe that that was the first true egg that they're going to plant for the four horsewomen and
You don't
horsewomen.
plant eggs.
Look, I've been drinking.
You've been enjoying
My
beverages.
Saints
of
gave me a
Beercade.
heart attack.
Yeah, Parashers, it's like medical facility. There's approved verbiage on this.
I just got shut down for beer. Let me have
Beverages.
this.
All right, let's get your final prediction
So,
here,
I'm going
Parrish.
with Bayley here.
I'm going to say Shayna Baszler wins because we're going to see a true curve in the four horsemen versus four horsewomen thing tonight.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the two, Shafir and Duke, are going to help Baszler win, just like the three of them are going to help Ronda Rousey win the Royal Rumble in 2020.
Here we go. Bold prediction time from Parrish already.
Well, and as you can always, Parrish and I will be here previewing the Royal Rumble at Beercade YEG. The pre-show for WWE's Survivor Series 2019 will be kicking off shortly, but
We got
guys, we're the only pre-show that matters. We're going to take one more match, then we're going to head to a quick break, I believe.
Yes,
If Mike's
sir.
indications
I got to
are
track this
any-
waitress down for more
That's
beer.
why we could only go one more. I was thinking a few more, but we
Fair
don't
enough.
want
Talked
to.
about medical. I'm no doctor, and I have no patience. Come on.
All right, let's
Mike,
move.
let's run us through our last match, my
Let's
friend.
move into our last triple threat match of the evening.
Okay.
It's going to be the tag team title showcase with the Raw tag team champions, the Viking Experience, Viking Rage,
Raiders,
Viking
War
Raiders, whatever you want to call them.
Ivar and Eric. Is that their name still?
Ivar. and
Yeah,
Eric.
it's weird. I just got 2K20. It is so weird not seeing Hanson in a row anymore. Just going to point that out. Useless fact.
The New Day, the SmackDown tag team champions, the new SmackDown tag team champions, and then taking on the Undisputed Era, aka Red Dragon.
I'll let you kick this one off, friend.
Undisputed Era is going to beat New Day for the win in this match. Keep the Viking Raiders strong, but give that rub to who I believe is the best tag team on the planet right now. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Undisputed Era. After that performance against the Revival, that's not a fact. That is undisputed.
Oh, you bastard.
Another B. Another B.
I do agree. I think that Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are going to come out of this match winners because I do think that you're going to see a big one from the Undisputed Era. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be Roderick Strong. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be the NXT men or women's teams. I think that either of them do stand a good shot, despite obviously we don't know who the NXT men's team is going to be as of the
Back
time
in the
of this
game, by
recording.
the way.
But it's going to be excellent to see who they are, again, on the WWE pre-show coming up. But when we get that information, stay tuned here. Outside of that, though, I think that the NXT Tag Team Champions, they have been on a dominant run over the last little bit, whether it's their matches against the Street Profits, whether it's against the Revival, whether it's their myriads of matches prior to. They've literally beat everybody who stood in their path. Whether they've lost the Tag Team Championships, they've won them back from those same individuals, right? Like Tyler or Mustache Mountain beat them back for the Tag Team Championship. I think that whenever they're tasked with an opponent, they have gotten their win at some point. And I think that going up against the New Day and the Viking Experience, because I think it's too great a name not to use, you're going to see more of the same. I think you're completely bang on there, man. They are going to pin the New Day, keep the Viking Raiders looking strong. And
I'm actually going to go one step further. Kyle O'Reilly pins Kofi Kingston.
Ooh.
Because then on NXT, he can flat out say, I pinned a WWE champion at Survivor Series.
Okay.
One
Fair enough.
last
Boom.
question before we hit the break, and
All
it's
right,
going to be
Mike.
it's going to sort of be off the rails a little bit, but they hinted at it a little bit on the Takeover show as well.
Okay.
Why do you think they didn't put the UK champions on each of these matches to make them fatal four-ways?
Because I think they're going to cost NXT. And we're going to see NXT UK versus NXT.
Mine's a lot more of a boring answer, but I do think it's a lot to do. Now, I say travel. Walter and them are sort of there, but I don't know whether or not it's wanting to keep it as an entirely separate brand. I couldn't tell you.
They were part of the beatdowns. On like the brawls during Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, and that's fair. And they did have Walter appear and take on Seth Rollins at NXT, but we're going to get into it a little bit later. I think that they're saving them for an entirely different concept. I also think that somebody entirely different is going to be costing one of those Survivor Series teams. But, Mike, I think I'm going to let you take us into the break, but I believe we're going to take a quick break, if that's correct.
Absolutely. And
Beautiful.
just a quick reminder, if you guys are just going to pack up and head your way down to Beercade YEG, our next broadcast on the WCSN network of shows, under Backbreaker Media, of course, will be December 8th with the first viewing, the watch party of Force Pro Wrestling's Just the Tip. We were going to have that on
I heard
the
the
first
commentating is phenomenal.
That's the only reason it's being delayed right now is I got to get this commentary back up to 100%.
Well,
Take
the
it
backstage
down from
interviews
150.
are always terrific, done by a very handsome individual
I mean,
who finally
if
found
only
himself.
we had time to explain.
And following that, the news came out this past Thursday. Folks, everybody keeps asking me. I don't have any more details than what you know, but on the 14th, Clandestine Society, 6 p.m. Mountain.
It's going to be great, folks.
The only thing I know is, besides those matches that are listed, is that it's myself and Big Bad Boris on commentary. So you know it's either going to be absolutely...
more bees.
Yeah, more bees to deal with. But anyway, we are going to go to a commercial break.
Cheers for the Buffalo Bills. Just going to beat...
We won today, so be
Favorite
nice.
baseball player is Barry Bonds.
Let's not go that far. We'll be right
Hates the
back in
Boston
about.
Bruins.
We'll be back in about 3.5 minutes with our second
I like
half
big-
of Over the Top Rope Live from Beercade YEG.
From Lanny McDonald to Daryl Sutter, Mark Messier to Cale McCarr. Before you're a star, you've got to make it in the AJHL. On Saturday mornings, TSN 1260 takes an in-depth look inside the Alberta Junior Hockey League. Join Tyler Yaremchuk from 9 to 10 a.m. for previews, reviews, and interviews from around the AJ. Inside the AJHL, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. Only on Edmonton Sports Leader, TSN 1260.
Hello friends, this is Spencer Love, the host of Conversations with Love, the exclusive one-on-one interview series sweeping the nation, or at the very least, the great province of Alberta, Canada. Tune in weekly to Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network, as I host a member of the independent wrestling community here in Alberta, or wherever the hell I feel like interviewing somebody from. You can only find it on Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network and proudly sponsored by Beercade YEG.
Hey, do you have a moment? Perhaps you're sitting at your cubicle, daydreaming, staring out the window. Maybe you're at home, TV droning on in the background as you flip through social media. Maybe you're at the airport. Have somebody coming up to you going, "We'd like to talk to you for a moment about our Lord and Savior." You can tell them, "No, thank you. I have a moment with Maniac." It's right here on the Win Column Sports Network. Come listen to it as I talk about wrestling pay-per-views, as I talk to other wrestlers in the Alberta indie scene, and I talk about pretty much whatever comes to mind. I have no agenda. I have nothing. I just have a moment to entertain you. Tune in.
The following advertisement is sponsored by Beercade YEG. Hello. You are listening to a commercial for the podcast Over the Top Rope, the flagship podcast of the Win Column Sports Network, as well as a proud member of Backbreaker Media. Again, this podcast is sponsored by Beercade YEG. You can find us pretty well anywhere that podcasts are played, including on the iTunes, Podbean, the Google Play, SoundCloud, and on wincolumnsports.ca for all your previews, reviews, and breaking news from the world of professional wrestling. Tune in every Friday on Backbreaker Media, a member of Win Column Sports.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra.
And a lot of wrestlers that actually are here for the show. $4 drinks, $4 specialty foods. And you can see here on the screen a great atmosphere for everything that is. Oh, you guys are back. Great.
Started the show without us?
Guess who's back?
Well, I'm sorry, the commercial cuts off. We're done. We gotta go. We gotta. Once you pay your bills, you gotta get moving.
Trust
here.
me, we know the importance of gotta go.
I think we call this a production issue, not a talent issue.
Is there a switch on your microphone, Spencer? That you know.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying. I think we call this a production issue, not a talent issue. Totally on the production end of things. We go ahead and hashtag blame Mike. Use it on Twitter if you want to complain about Mike the Ref.
And Parrish.
You go right ahead. I'm going to be on my phone.
All right, folks. Coming up next.
Well played. Sorry.
Let's get back to the matches here because we got some doozies here. First, we're going to talk about the women's Survivor Series elimination tag match. And this is going to be the first time we're going to have 3 teams involved in an elimination match, which is going to get lengthy.
It's going to be outstanding. Now, Mike, you're going to have to help me clarify because I'm very vague on a lot of the teams just off sort of the dumb posters that WWE sends out. But there are always a lot of cool moments in any of these Survivor Series matches, whether it's Braun Strowman and Triple H, a couple of years ago, whether it's any of the myriad of interactions you've got sort of like that. I think you've got a lot of the same potential this year. You're going to get interaction between Kairi Sane and Io Shirai on the main roster of WWE for the first time. And if their NXT interaction is any indication, it's very, very cool. I really like the makeup of the SmackDown women's team because I've always felt as the WWE Survivor Series pre-show gets kicked off here at Beercade YEG, I have always felt that you should always use a Survivor Series match as a bit of a launching point for a lot of talents. And I think you see that on the women's Survivor Series team, whether it's Dana Brooke, whether it's Sarah Logan on the Raw women's Survivor Series team. You're going to see a lot of breakouts like that. I'm always excited, man. It is hard to talk about the actual matches themselves because they're actual cacophony. So I think just to limit our time on this, if you guys are cool with these sort of being our ground rules, who are your survivors for each match and who wins the match? Outside of just your general thoughts.
Easy. The Kabuki Warriors.
Okay.
Yeah. They make those tag titles look strong. And then we might even see... I think the whole idea with this, we're going to have maybe a couple of people come up to look like they can challenge for it. But I think right now, these are the only titles that have no implication of any match and really haven't been talked about. So I think there's going to be an onus on making them, and I say Asuka and Kairi Sane, look strong. Therefore, my sole survivors are the Kabuki Warriors.
They did just receive new theme music the other night, too. For me, maybe it is just the fact that I'm biased towards SmackDown on a lot of these upcoming matches, but because they're trying to make it the proverbial A show, I think that you're going to see a lot of wins out of them in these traditional matches. And I think that with Sasha Banks, no, she hasn't had the opportunity to win a championship since her return. She is still in need of that statement win. So I think you're going to see the SmackDown women win this match. And I think that you could actually see Sasha Banks and one of the other talents in the match, whether it be Carmella, Nikki Cross, whether it be Dana Brooke, another talent that sort of could use that boost to win. And then, much like we saw in 2016, maybe Sasha Banks starts her next program with someone along the lines of a Nikki Cross or Carmella.
I'm going to flat out say, I'm going to go with the 4 horsewoman theme on here.
Okay.
I have a feeling when you have Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, I think they're going to be on the guilty side of making sure Sasha Banks loses.
Fair enough, man. And the NXT women's team, from what I remember, Mike, this is where I'm going to start to need your clarification.
Allow me, it just got released late last night. So
Thank you, sir.
we got Bianca Belair,
Yep.
Io Shirai,
My favorite women's wrestler in NXT by a damn mile.
Io?
Oh, by a
Oh
mile.
my god, and she is beautiful.
Watch Takeover, so good.
So beautiful.
Sorry, Mike.
Rhea Ripley,
Unbelievably great.
Candice LeRae, and my pick actually for Soul Survivor, Toni Storm.
And I think that would be excellent, but it's unfortunate to me that Toni Storm has sort of been lumped in with this. These are her first real big returns since the whole angle with her and Kaylee Ray in NXT UK. So I would have loved to have seen her maybe as a surprise entrant to the NXT women's team, because like it happened on Friday night, she only just sort of returned, entered with the women's team there, didn't get involved, didn't do anything outside of the generic brawl. I would have really loved to have seen her get a bit more of a shine coming into it, so that it was, again, I would love to see her do it. She's one of my favorite women's wrestlers out there right now, but the fact that she hasn't really gotten that shine heading into it was a little disappointing. And with Rhea Ripley, I would love to see her be a sole survivor.
Yeah.
But I think last night at TakeOver, for those who got the opportunity to watch, she really got a huge moment last night. Would a loss defeat her or derail her momentum? I don't really think so. So I think that SmackDown's going to pull out the victory.
It definitely depends on how it's done, and everything.
And that's the case with everything. Anything can be done poorly. I was excited for Rollins and The Fiend the first time.
I wouldn't even be surprised if we see internal divisions make their feuds. If maybe Kaylee Ray helps eliminate Toni Storm and they revisit that moving forward on NXT UK.
And that's always fair as well.
Things like that, I think we got.
Always tough to get into.
You have so much layers that you can go with on these, and that's why I think it makes this year's Survivor Series probably the most interesting, must-see, and just, you know what, I'm just going to shut up and watch it because I don't know, kind of pay-per-views this year.
Fair enough. Now, I did see that we got a comment, just to interject real quickly before we move on to the next match. JD Thunder asking for some information on Monster Pro Wrestling if we're going to be posting in the MPW group. So, what I would like to say about Monster Pro Wrestling over the last little bit, they have been doing a hell of a job. Retribution 12, a hell of a show. I do get a little disappointed with the double disqualification when they run a no disqualification event, but they can all be excused when you've got the talents involved with it.
Let's sum up with the final thing. If you guys want to know about Monster Pro Wrestling, make sure you check them out December 7th
punch, my friend.
with the Backbreaker Media original match, Blitzkrieg.
And congratulations to the Kidsiders who became the new provincial champion over this weekend.
There we go. This has been your Monster Pro Wrestling Minute, sponsored by the WCSN. Now, Mike, heading back to your Survivor Series information for me, because again, it's tough to remember 15 people for every match, to be quite honest.
This one's a little easier because there's only 10 people announced for it so far. The men's Survivor Series match involves Team SmackDown, Team Raw, which have been announced already. Yes. For Raw, you got Orton, McIntyre, Rollins, Ricochet, and Kevin Owens after last night. And for Team SmackDown, you got Strowman, Corbin, Gable. I refuse to call him that other name.
You had the same idea I did.
Ali and Reigns.
Now, it is
Mustafa Ali. The Mustafa is back, by the way. Thank God.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
So, Parrish, I just want to run through real quickly before we really get into the nitty-gritty of this. Who would be your ideal team for NXT? Because I know that there's going to be a lot of predictions for who it will actually be, but given the current roster, who would be your 5 men that you would pick for the male team?
If I truly wanted to do something that I had if I included UK, I would have Imperium in there. If I wanted just to do the NXT North American brand, Undisputed Era, how can I say no? Obviously, I would love to have Johnny Gargano in there, but we all know that he's not performing this weekend. He's made that clear. Ciampa, I believe, needs to be involved. I don't think there is a superstar right now on the cusp of hitting that next level more than Tommaso Ciampa is right now. And the irony of, like, he must survive. How can you not play any puns into Survivor Series, right?
I completely agree with you there, man.
So, but at the end of the day, I would love to see, the Mustache Mountain involved. I would love to see Tyler Bate be a part of it. I think that guy has a ceiling that is just beyond what normal ceilings are in this business. So my team, I'm going to put Tommaso Ciampa. I'm going to put Adam Cole. I'm going to put Walter. I am going to pick Tyler Bate. And I am going to pick a Mr. Jordan Devlin.
Ooh, I like Devlin a lot. I saw him at a Progress show a couple of months ago when they were there for Survivor Series.
Parrish, we're going to talk about it in a second, but you got to take Cole out of it. Add one more.
Why do I have to take out Cole?
Got the matchup against Pete Dunne tonight.
And he's never done double duty. Fine, I'll take out Adam Cole, and I'll throw in a guy from the NXT brand, Keith Lee.
There you go.
That was my guy, dude. He was so good in that War Games matchup last night. I think that he really had a star-making performance. So, for me, I think on the NXT team, yes, you have to.
Can I say one thing about Keith Lee, though? Yes. That guy,
he's limitless.
You want that, but at the same time, with all the Jordan Miles stuff that's gone on, I want to say, Keith Lee, you're absolutely a stud and a true professional by being patient of a guy who debuted a year ago, waited his turn, and now, he is starting to really reach a certain height because that guy is truly limitless. That guy truly is a superstar waiting to happen. And Keith Lee, I applaud you in multiple ways. Good for you.
To take it completely off the loop, I just want to let everybody know that Leo Rush won the Cruiserweight Championship.
Thank you very much.
The predictor of worlds called it.
Sorry to go back to it. So I completely agree with Tommaso Ciampa needing to be a member of that team. Keith Lee, 100%, I think, needs to be a member of that team. As far as the men in NXT go right now, too, could you see Finn Balor as part of that team? Again, he's been conspicuously absent. He hasn't really shown his allegiance outside of talking about his previous NXT runs, NXT being his home, how he wanted to make a statement in his first run back. I think you could see Finn Balor. I think you'd see someone like Dominik Dijakovic, who also had a very...
Could we see the Demon? Could we see the Demon tonight?
So. They would say. I think they saved that for singles matches. Just personal opinion on my end. I would love to see him out there. I think that Walter is going to be a part of it with his appearance last night at NXT TakeOver.
Yeah.
I don't think you fly someone over like that just to do a raw crowd appearance anymore. As far as a fifth member goes, I don't know how you top last night's surprise appearance of Kevin Owens. I think that you don't want it to be a surprise. I don't even know, to be quite honest with you, who could genuinely be a fifth member of this team outside of Johnny Gargano.
I have a couple names that I could say would be a bigger surprise. They're unlikely as heck, but I'm just saying they're names that could be bigger surprises. We're in Chicago. Wouldn't Punk be the biggest holy moment of the year?
And if
it won't happen.
If
but
we don't get someone like Johnny Gargano as the quote-unquote surprise return to the promotion.
What about John Morrison?
Yes and no. I would like to see it, but I also think he's a guy who had enough experience. He'll come back to the main roster if it is true that he had signed with WWE. Someone I would love to see hop into the NXT men's team, Cameron Grimes. Give me someone who hasn't really gotten that shine yet, but is an outstanding professional wrestler. He's been on a winning streak in NXT. The only loss that I believe he suffered was in the finals of that NXT breakout tournament.
I wouldn't be against a Shane Thorne.
Yes and no. I don't.
I want to see what he has.
I would love to see.
I would love to see what he has.
I think that if you're looking for someone like that, though, you've got better options. I think that Cameron Grimes is your fifth man on the NXT Men's Survivor Series roster. Mike.
Well, who do you think is going to win the match? That's the other part we haven't got to here.
NXT.
I think that this is the one that NXT takes. And I think it could be a dominant performance. You could see 2 or 3 sole survivors. I think Walter's one of them. I think Tommaso Ciampa's one of them. And I think you could also see someone like a Cameron Grimes.
Well, I mean, we just saw with the pre-show, Leo Rush retained his Cruiserweight title, but he also made it 1-0 in the whole thing because Cesaro is a Raw member. Kalisto is a SmackDown member.
No, I don't know if there was a match prior, but they did show that it was 1-0 for Raw, and 1 for NXT, and 1 for SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it started earlier. We can only watch what we've got here. I unfortunately cannot check my phone all that often, but
I'm on the ball.
Believe that there have been 2 matches. Parrish, you can fact check for me.
I'm also going to complain about our producer.
Let's into our next match, my friend.
Our next match, and it is one of our 3 title matches for tonight. And this finally got confirmed after NXT TakeOver last night. It's the NXT champion, Adam Cole, defending against the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne.
And I love it. I absolutely love all of it.
So listen, they also did a, from what it sounds like, they did a tag team battle royal that was won by Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. So that would explain the SmackDown win.
Thank you very much, Parrish. To go back to the Adam Cole-Pete Dunne match, these are 2 of my favorite professional wrestlers in the world. To kick it off early, I think that Adam Cole retains. Unfortunately, I don't see Pete Dunne as the NXT champion right now. I do think that at some point he could be, but he is either going to lose this match and begin another long-term story with Adam Cole chasing the championship, or I believe he's going to hop right up to the main roster, and I think that a guy like Pete Dunne is someone who could really be. There aren't a ton of people from the UK outside of a guy like Finn Balor who is a real name value, quote-unquote, UK wrestler on the main roster. Could Pete Dunne be that guy? I don't know yet, but as far as potential goes, hell yeah. So, for that reason and that reason alone, just giving the further developments to it, Adam Cole's got the win tonight.
Yeah,
Why would you take the title off?
I agree with you with the Pete Dunne moving up to the main roster because I would love to see Pete Dunne be the guy that answered an Aleister Black call. I think that would be absolutely amazing beyond anything. I mean, come on, like how would you not want to watch that? If you do, I honestly don't think you actually truly like wrestling. But yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any way, like, whoever beats Adam Cole for this title, it has to mean something. Because I think Tommaso Ciampa was getting there, but Adam Cole has flat out put NXT on his back during this time where they're now on TV.
On his back.
Yeah. But at the same time, he is the most prolific NXT champion to date because of the fact that he is the first NXT champion and only NXT champion on TV.
On TV consistently.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Kevin Owens was the NXT champion. He brought the title on to Raw.
But he carries
I still
the
remember
brand.
him standing above John Cena holding the NXT championship.
Yeah.
So, yes, he is the first consistent NXT champion that's been on TV, but let's not discredit some of the other
Through
greats
the
of all time.
NXT brand, the first time they're on national television, Adam Cole's the champion. And I think that means something. And I think he is the right guy to carry the NXT brand until they find the right guy. I don't believe Pete Dunne at this moment is the right guy to take it away from him.
Fair enough.
I believe that we could see Mustache Mountain and the Undisputed get involved in this match. And I think we're going to see one of the true matches where it stays between those guys and those factions. We don't see Raw, we don't see SmackDown get involved. But I do believe Adam Cole wins with the last shot, 1, 2, 3.
Fair enough. Mike, I am also going to take Adam Cole. I am also going to ask you to lead us into our next match.
We got 2 to go, and this one is going to be absolutely insane if you ask me.
Okay.
The prototypical David versus Goliath matchup. You got Brock Lesnar going up against Rey Mysterio. No disqualifications, no countouts. Anything goes. Well,
Anybody who thinks that a no disqualification stipulation benefits anyone but Brock Lesnar is silly. Yeah, Rey Mysterio can go ahead and take literally whatever he wants, so he attacks the back of Brock Lesnar's knees with a 2x4. He could stab Brock Lesnar as far as I'm concerned. Brock Lesnar with a no disqualification stipulation is the most dangerous professional wrestler in the world. And I know that he works great with smaller guys. You've seen that in his matches with Balor, with Bryan, with AJ Styles at Survivor Series 2 years ago. The guy does great with very, very contrary opponents. Doesn't mean he's not going to win. He's won his matches with Styles. He won his match with Bryan. The guy is going to retain. I have no doubt about that. It's going to be a fantastic match, but Brock Lesnar leaves Survivor Series as your WWE champion.
I do not disagree. But what I will say is you're going to see somebody turn heel in that match, and it's going to be one of Cain Velasquez or Dominic, who cost Rey Mysterio the match.
Okay.
what do you think Dominic's appearance is going to be, if any, in this matchup?
Isn't he still technically, quote unquote, at a medical facility? After
Probably.
the last attack that happened from Brock Lesnar. He hasn't been seen since then, so perhaps he enters and gets destroyed. If Rey Mysterio ends up as the WWE champion after tonight, I would be a little disappointed, and I could see it being like the quote unquote big shock of the night, but I would be a little bit disappointed.
Well, from there, I think we've talked about this match enough here. Let's move on to our final match of the evening. And this one, I'm praying that there's no blue light involved. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defending his newly won WWE or Universal title, which WWE.com can't even get the right color of belt on the screen, taking on Daniel Bryan in a match that potentially has 3 years in the making.
Parrish, I'll let you start this one because I feel like I'm going to talk about it a lot longer.
This is the worst time for letting me talk, by the way.
I know.
But I am. Here's my prediction: Bray Wyatt retains the title because of a reuniting Wyatt family.
No. You can't go back to that right now. The Fiend has been too good on his own.
It wouldn't be the first time I proved you wrong with a Harper appearance.
And that's true. But be that as that may, I think that there is absolutely no way right now that you could go back to it. I could see Luke Harper and Eric Rowan becoming a part of the Firefly Funhouse family. I could see them becoming a part of that entire universe. But right now, I think that Bray Wyatt has done too good a job himself to take away from that with the Wyatt family.
I'm not saying it's a long-term reunition. I'm saying it's a one-night deal.
I don't see the need for that at that point. Right now, Daniel Bryan is the best in-ring professional wrestler of the last 15 years. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. But I think that Bray Wyatt as a character right now is the hottest thing going, not just in WWE, but in professional wrestling. And I say that despite what happened at Hell in a Cell. The guy's the most popular thing in WWE. He is the most unique character in WWE, and there is no reason to have him lose tonight. It'll be very interesting, and that is one thing that I have always loved about Survivor Series, is you get to see how WWE, from the back end of things, handles a champion versus champion match. There's going to be some shenanigans, I would have to assume, but I think that Daniel Bryan is going to come out, obviously, on the losing end tonight. The Fiend won't lose until WrestleMania, and I have no issues in saying that.
The only thing I'm going to say about this is the only way that Rowan and Harper become part of the Firefly Funhouse is if they become two new puppets. But
And I would love it as well, but we'll see what happens as far as that
But
goes.
here's one guy that we haven't talked about much of tonight that could play a part in it that would make sense, and that is Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is not only a SmackDown wrestler, he is also a guy that the Fiend has attacked before, that has history with the Fiend before that attack.
And for me, I always go into this just as a general rule for my predictions of things. If you're already wrestling, I don't see you getting involved later. And being as a member of the SmackDown Men's Survivor Series team, I don't see him getting involved in this match, be that as it may. You're not making a bad point. Could Strowman get involved? Absolutely. Should the Fiend lose the Universal Championship this early? Absolutely not.
I'm not.
He
No,
absolutely
I
should.
honestly think Braun Strowman is there to help the Fiend.
Okay, fair
All right.
enough. Well, Mike,
I think at this point, Parrish really wants to watch Red Dragon get in action in the ring right now. So I think it's.
I have no problem letting you talk, by the way.
Well, I'll do
I have
the
a
wrap-up.
job to do, and I am a professional, Michael.
Well, as long as you give me the social media platforms that people can find you on after Mike closes us out here, that's all I need from you, friend. Tag Team Wrestling is coming, as well as the rest of the Survivor Series card. Mike, give us what you need to, my friend.
Well, that's going to wrap it up here. Just a reminder, everyone, that our next broadcast is going to be December 8th, covering the
December Ocho for our Spanish language announce table friends.
5 o'clock p.m. on YouTube. We're going to have the Just the Tip breakdown. Guys, the video's turning out great right now, so
Unreal.
you're going to enjoy it. Other than that, boys, let's spit out some social media and let's get out of here.
Spit it quick because you've got stuff to watch.
All right, if you want to follow me on Twitter, make sure you follow at Chris Parrish. On Instagram, it's chris.parrish. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, just become my friend, like my fan page. Chris Parrish is all the same, none the different. Spencer?
Absolutely, friends. And before we wrap it
Oh,
up here.
wait, hold
Oh,
on. Emergency interception.
Please do.
A certain message here. We want OG co-host from a certain Hayden Love.
He was really, really good. And Hayden Love, you were always invited.
I've
for
actually
Over
been
the Top Rope
backing
Live.
him up.
Right.
There's
There's
actually-
actually
there's a-
when is Hayden coming back?
Last time I checked, there's a fourth mic spot in my
Yeah.
board here.
Fair.
Hayden, just get here.
Anyway, let's wrap this up,
Fair
gentlemen.
enough.
Spenny,
You can follow the WCSN, which is, of course, your source for previews, reviews, breaking news, and interviews in the Canadian pro wrestling scene at Win Column Sports Network across Instagram and Facebook. If you're looking for us on Twitter, it's WC Sports CA. Myself personally, Spencer Love, your host of Conversations with Love and Over the Top Rope Live at SpennyLove_WCS. Thank you for tuning into this week's edition of Over the Top Rope Live. Mike, I'm going to let you close us out with where we can find you, where we can find Backbreaker Media, and where people can tune in to December 8th's Just the Tip.
I'm going to throw one more, even more important here.
Beautiful.
Folks, remember, get down here to Beercade YEG, 10544 82nd Avenue.
Thank you.
A very, very special thank you to them for sponsoring this show, as well as joining us for our next Over the Top Rope Live, December 15th, with the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs event.
Always excited for some TLC, and as Mike mentioned, head down to Beercade YEG, not just for even the co-hosts of Over the Top Rope Live, as well as producer Mike the Ref, but a ton of members of the Edmonton independent wrestling community. A ton of great games here. $4 drinks, $4 menu items on select purchases. There are a ton of reasons to head down here, but if you want to do so, 105th Street and 82nd Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta. I have been your host, Spencer Love, for both Mike the Ref and Chris Parrish. Thank you for tuning in to OTTR Live. We will talk to you on December 15th.
I got married, so I didn't have to wrap it up. Just going to point that out.